experience on both teams. Just kind of how do you see that dynamic just overall? I mean, Washington has all these old guys. You guys are one of the most experienced teams in the whole subdivision.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the factors in both teams getting here. Guys have been through a lot. Guys have played a lot of football, very experienced, and you see it show up in key situations where older players tend to understand how to handle the moment sometimes better than young players. So, I think we have a good mix on defense of some young guys that play for us, older guys. They certainly have a very experienced offense, and so it's a challenge, that we're looking forward to.
What were your initial thoughts when you saw the matchup against Washington? Obviously, they present a different challenge altogether than what you just faced in Alabama.
Yeah, just tremendous respect for them and how they operate, the offensive success, the team success. Coach DeBoer's track record, his head coaching record is off
Michigan
the charts.
head coach Jim Harbaugh in the house.
Just
Welcome
great
to Houston.
respect for them and their players.
Now that you guys are officially just a couple
Penix
days away from the big game, what are you feeling
Michigan's
with the
played
pulse
against
of the
him
team
before.
right now?
I wasn't a part of
I
that.
feel this is everything's
he's
big.
played
Everything's
against
big in
Michigan,
Texas.
so he kind of understands how we
big
operate.
Media day, big stadiums,
and
big.
it's a challenge we're looking forward to.
I want to go back in your career a little bit to Georgia State. What did you learn as a coordinator there that you've been able to apply to Michigan that's resulted in this success?
I think when you're young, you really learn to try to figure things out. Don't have the experience at the time, and so that was like almost like starting a program from scratch when we went there. So I think those types of places at the G5 or other places, where maybe resources aren't as high, you try to learn to use the resources you have, try to maximize your talent. Really love my time there, love living there, love the school, love the people there, and really had a great experience sort of trying to hone my craft there in the 4 years I was there.
What was the number one lesson you learned?
It's still really about the players, coming there. I'd just been at Indiana State, where we had a really good defense. You go there, you learn quickly that, it's about accumulating talent and teaching and developing. Something like I said, I feel good about what we were able to do there, but it's about trying to acquire talent and then develop players. And I think that's the success now that we have at Michigan is a direct reflection of that.
Washington's offensive line won the Joe Moore Award. How important is it to get pressure on a team, especially when they're so well coached and protecting their quarterback?
Yeah, I think it's a great challenge. They've only given up 11 sacks. Sometimes in this type of game, it's not necessarily about the sack numbers. It's about affecting the quarterback some way, somehow. And sometimes that's through coverage. Sometimes that's through pressure. Sometimes that's through winning one-on-ones up front. So it's a great challenge. Their O-line has played really, really well. I love our D-line, so that's a matchup I'm excited to see play out on Monday.
Jesse, just organizationally and I guess as far as resources, how does Michigan compare with your experience in the NFL?
It's an interesting question. I think one thing both places was with Coach Harbaugh, both Coach Harbaugh. So I think the way they operate is very similar. And what I mean by that is it might not be a ton of bells and whistles in our program, but anything that we can do to maximize the players' ability to develop as players, I think is where we put our resources. So, you're talking about the strength program, the weight room, the facilities. If you look at our program, it's about player development. That's the epicenter of our program and why we've been good. So I think it was the same thing in the NFL. I think that's an underrated thing that the Ravens are really, really good at is drafting players and developing them. And they have so many homegrown players now that are playing key roles for them as they're striving to win the Super Bowl. So I think player development is the epicenter of that for both those teams.
If you dropped in on one and the other, would there be an appreciable difference? If I did,
I think there would be a lot of similarities, just in how they operate, how the time commitment to being good at football, the reps. You get good at football by playing football. I think the guys that have been through the Ravens organization would say you're gonna learn how to practice hard. You're gonna practice to get better, and certainly that's how we operate at Michigan. So, I think there's certainly some differences in how you treat 30-plus-year-old guys in the NFL versus the guys we have. But I think overall you would see similarly run structure, similarly run organization.
Jesse, in a game like this, it's about the matchups inside the matchups. Obviously, everyone was talking about Washington's passing attack against your number one ranked pass defense. You got their wide receiver core. I mean, the challenges again of stopping that core altogether. They have that star power of Oduzzi, and then just from my amateur eye, I mean, they do look like they like to throw that fade ball a lot. I mean, just the challenges that all of that presents.
Yeah, it's a tremendous challenge. They got elite skill. Their whole receiving core is really, really good. They got draft choices all over the field at the skill positions and on the O-line and a quarterback and a running back.
Right.
So it's a different type of challenge than the Alabama offense, where the O-line was that big physical group, and then they had speed. They had a quarterback that could do different things. This is a little bit more of a matchup game where it's elite quarterback that can get the ball to his guys and is not afraid to throw into tight windows, is not afraid to give his guys chances at one-on-one. So we expect the ball to be thrown downfield, and look forward to the challenge of trying to defend that.
Specifically with Michael Penix, he had one of the best performances you could have in a college football playoff semifinal against Texas, just ripping throws outside over the middle of the field. Really good pocket maneuverability as well. When you watch him throughout this week of preparation, what do you see and what makes him stand out, especially as you kind of look at what he could do potentially at the next level?
Yeah, I mean, he's elite, and I think it's his ability to process the information that he's given. So, I think they do a really good job structurally trying to undress your defense a little bit, trying to give him an idea of what coverages you're playing, things like that. So now he has that information pre-snap, and he's able to process it really quickly. He has a quick release that goes along with his ability to think fast, make quick decisions. He's really accurate, and then he trusts himself and he trusts his receivers. So there's very little hesitation in his game. So I think that's what makes him really good. And I think that translates to the NFL. Your ability to think fast, read defenses, process information, get rid of the ball quickly, get the ball where it needs to go in space. So elite player, elite challenge for us, but one we're really excited about.